each week we recorded dialogue and backed it up onto DATs. So here we have season 1, 2, 3, and 4, all the dialogue recordings from all the shows. Every outtake, it's all right here. Also the digital backup of all of the sound effects and the multi-channel projects are all here as well. So this is basically the entire 52 episodes, all of the audio. What made it and what didn't, we're all sitting here. And these are the scripts and storyboards and music cue sheets from all of the episodes as well. They're really, it's an art education just to read through the storyboards and see how a funny cartoon could be laid out. I enjoy just looking through them for old time's sake, but I can't bear to throw them away. They're so brilliant. So typically cartoons start here before they get animated, so you can really get the feel of the whole thing. And these were used in the dialogue recording as well. So these are the scripts that the characters would read off of, and they could see the character's expression as they're reading the part and make sure that they're matching the intent of the scene. I have here storyboards from seasons 3 and 4, music cue sheets from all the episodes, all of the dialogue recordings, source recordings from the original sessions, including all the outtakes and some really great riffing. Billy West and I have talked about going through these someday and finding some of his amazing outtakes where he would just go off on a tear. Stimpy is Ray Massey doing some scene from whatever, and and I haven't had time to go back and listen. And I also don't have a functioning DAT machine, so technology. This was new tech in 1994, and now it's if you can find a working DAT deck, God bless you. Music that we used to use, we licensed music from APM and KPM libraries. We had a lot of the retro stuff that you hear. And then here's some transfers of some of the music. But let's see, the Capitol production music, suspense stuff. But each episode is backed up. So here's the You Idiot album. So Charlie Brissett, one of the sound guys, also did a couple of albums, and so we have all that stuff here as well. We recorded most of it in our studio. Entire Scotsman episode backed up. So this is the mix files, all of the sound effects edited. This can be only read on an old spectral synthesis audio engine, and I don't know that there are any of those working in the world. But the DATs, I think we can resurrect those. Animators' favorite subject was drawing other animators. So everybody loved to draw Bob Camp. So I have everybody's portraits of Bob Camp. So here's a lovely Steve Loader drawings of Bob. And so all the doodles that the animators were working on, I just kept. They would also take things like, I gotta grab this one cup. I'll be right back. Yeah. So each of the animators, I just thought that they were so talented, and they do these little things while we were working, so I can't tell who drew that. But I think it was Bill Ray. And he just drew it on a cup and was gonna toss the cup, so I kept this. So this is some original artwork from the show. The animators would also draw with their fingernails. So this one was Tom McGrath. So with Ren's tongue up Stimpy's ass, very, very nice. And this one's a little subtler. Excuse me, I haven't taken these out in a while, but if you look closely, it's just like etched with a thumbnail while they were telling me what to edit. All right, so we're looking at a dialogue script book, pickup lines from various shows. So we'd often bring actors back in to pick up a few lines that either didn't work out so well, or maybe they've changed a little bit of dialogue to make the show better, as we discussed. So we always had to have a reference of how many takes did we do? Which one was our favorite take? What DAT did we back it up on in case somebody, a hard drive crashed, we had to go back and restore it from somewhere. So we would often mark these things up during the recording session, and then somebody would take the tape, and at least we'd know which take to grab at what point on what DAT. Mr. Horse speaks, Stimpy speaks, so typically if Mr. Horse was in for a session, he'd read all of his lines and leave, and then Stimpy would come in. Of course, it's all the same guy, but so the Ren and Stimpy sound effects were actually made by the crew. John Cristofalusi took his violin and made a bunch of these great sounds. string slides. Some more Stimpy nose pokes. So we organized our sound effects, in groups like this, so we could quickly, flip and flop if somebody didn't like a pop or what have you. Some flash bulbs. Some sci-fi sounds that you may. Here's Powdered Toast Man. So these are all from Space Madness. And most of this stuff is not available anywhere. We did have the Hanna-Barbera sound effects library. We used that a little bit. But most everything was generated for the show because it made it recognizable. It didn't sound like anything else because we used sounds that no one had. And it's got a lo-fi retro vibe, and that's what we were going for. The show was 16-bit 44K, even to mix down, so it's a little harsh. I listened last night on cable, on satellite TV, and I'd like to put the whole thing through a little EQ just to take out a little bit of the harshness, because sound has gotten better. We're using 24-bit higher sample rates now, and we did what we could. But I think at the time it worked well because we were going for kind of an edgier retro sound, so it wasn't as high fidelity as it could have been at the time if we had more budget, more equipment. But let's see. So we compartmentalized these signs to make it easy to find. Here's some bongos that we use. Let's see that. Stimpy jumping around, and pretty much the same microphone that we used for the dialogue. We recorded all these sound effects into. For better or worse, here's some of the eye blinks. Oh, I'm sorry. There you go. Simple sound effect, but used out of context, it was very effective, I think. And people are still using them. There you go.